My girls hold me down, them boys mess around. My love life is a mess. We going out tonight because I'm looking for love. Yes, hey y'all. We are talking about Sisters, episode 14, season 2. Just for me? I don't know. That was the name of it, Just for Me. I don't know what that was. Maybe I'll figure it out when I do this recap. Anyway, it's your girl Barbie J here. Let me give my shout outs to the names I can remember. I lost my list, so I know there's Bobby Ray, Karen Wilson, Isaiah Hill, Shanice Says, Ty Harrell, and Lamont Simpson. Those are the names I do remember that have given comments out, holding my channel down. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Okay, so it starts off with was it Danny with them hillbillies and stuff, who happened to take offense of her calling them hillbillies when they up here calling her biatches and everything. I mean, they had called her so many names, and you know, they Preston's brothers, and they just so silly. They super country, you know. And she was like, I mean, Danny sitting there like, is this a joke or what? You know, she's like, am I getting punked? No, you ain't no, you're not getting punked, and you the joke. And they all going all that stuff to her. And she's like, I don't get this. You know, she just was so confused. And they called her all kinds of names. And then they had the nerve. They said, what'd they say? She better leave their brother alone and don't be talking to him no more. All communications is off. And she's like, what? And she, you know, Danny, I was shocked because they had her just sitting there listening. And they're telling her she just a pretty little, what did she say? She was just a pretty black piece of ass, and that she was a bet that they made. He wasn't supposed to fall in love with her or anything like that. He's just supposed to get it. We all done had some of it. You just supposed to get it, and that's it. And you ain't getting none of our family money. Don't think it. And we paid for a ticket. We paid for a tickets just to come back here and tell you this shit. You know, letting her know that they got money. She's like, so they just spent money to come back here and just say something to me. So she looked at them and said, hold up. Do you, I don't want to say it because that word seems so bad. Do you, what she call them, cracker ass, cracker backwoods, red nut hicks think you talking to? And she just laid into them. And they was like, what? Damn hillbillies. And they was like, don't be calling us no hillbillies like that's a curse. I was like, Lord help them. So she went in on them, and it was just like, they left. They walked away like that was it. And she finally got her senses because she kept saying, I'm being punked. She just could not believe she wasn't. And she finally said something to them, and they came at her. And she just went in. I mean, Danny went in, and she was about to lay into them. And then here comes Zach driving up in one of them little airport carts and stuff that you keep the travel people with. And what happened? So he decided to defend her and stuff. And she's telling him, no, don't say nothing. And they said, look, Jamal. He said, the fuck you calling Jamal? they did a black name. I was like, oh no. I was laughing because she got so mad. She jumped in that cart and ran them over. And I was like, oh my God, she is a nut. She a nut. So that was funny. Then, you know, so she's telling him to get out of there and go. She's telling Zach not to argue because she knows Zach get in trouble. He'll lose his job and he'll end up in jail or something. And she didn't want that. So I figured she probably been at that job a long time. She gonna say something anyway and defend herself. Then they go to, who is it, Sabrina and Maurice. And you know that guy Jacoby is leaning over her. And he's like, they still working together and stuff. And Maurice gets mad and busts in there. Y'all been here a long time and blah, blah. I'm like, he the one that wouldn't help Jacoby. That's why Jacoby had to go in there and get help from her, from Sabrina. Anyway, so he goes out. They sit down, they talking. he lets her know that he has the drug test, the urine test for Jacoby and for Calvin. And do you want them and stuff? And she's like, yeah. And they open it. Of course, Jacoby is clean and stuff. And then she opens Calvin's, and she's like, Dad, you know, I should have stopped listening to people. He said, I've been told you to stop doing that. And that's what we said. We said she need to stop listening to everybody else. Her damn ass be, that's why she lose out on good people. But then she's sitting there going, he's a nice and sweet guy, but you know, she don't know. You know, I just didn't know he a real great guy. But I didn't know I'd be with somebody like him. Like what? Well, like what? You know, it was just like crazy. She thought she'd be with somebody more like Jacoby. I said, Lord help her. And then he let her know that Maurice let her know that Calvin was in the bank and saw it. And he was pissed. And saw it, you know, that Jacoby was over her. And she kind of smirked and smiled. And then he was like, are you trying to make him jealous, you know? But she didn't know he was coming in there, so it can't be that. But I think she's just so scared that because he's a little feminine. But he had 2 gay fathers. What you expect? Who she more compatible with? She told me she wants somebody more rugged. I said, oh, Lord Jesus. It just was, it was ridiculous. Anyway, who else? Even though Maurice kept telling her to call, she told me she waiting for Calvin to call her. She the one that sent Calvin away. So why would Calvin call her? It's just, it's so ridiculous. Anyway, so then it's Danny and Zach on the phone. And, you know, they on a plane. They was on a plane and she's in the back there smoking on the plane. He's like, how the hell you still got a job? You up there doing this? He ain't want none of it. See, Zach trying to do the right thing and everything. And she showed him this box that she found in the Lost and Found. And I guess it was some of his stuff. I don't know if that's supposed to be the box that Karen dropped off, but I thought Karen dropped it off in front of her house. Maybe she dropped it off in front of the airport. And you know, Danny told him, you lucky they didn't think it was like a suspicious package and get the bomb squad tearing that thing apart. He said, you right about that. You right about that. So they had their little moment. And, you know, Zach said how he was doing what he really was doing because Danny questioned him again about did he use Karen's card, and he said he did not use Karen's credit card. He didn't do that. So she's like, well, you know, you driving this truck. Nobody know about where you got that from. And then that's when he told her about that chain breaker program he's in with the real estate and the ex-cons. So she's like, God, this is great. You should have told me you're doing this for Karen. No, I ain't doing this for Karen. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me, he said. And I like that. It's like you don't do something for other people. You do it for yourself. So, you know, he thanks Danny for giving him the box and everything. But they had their little emotional moment. And he told her, you know, she better go and check herself with her in-laws. She said, wait a minute, don't start. Little country asses. In-laws. And so she's like, don't start, you know. But he said how this girl he's seeing makes him feel like he could do anything. And how Karen didn't make him feel that way. She always was putting him down and stuff. But see, he had his shit together then. Maybe he getting his stuff together now, you know. So then Fatima asks Hayden, and she goes in his office and wants to know what he said to Zach. Did he say anything to Zach? And he's like, why? What did he say? She said, he ain't say nothing, but he been acting strange. She said, yeah, I said something to him, and I told him to stay away from you. And she's like, why you would tell him that? So Fatima was pissed about that, and she went in on him, and he told about these are ex-cons, they dangerous, they not safe, and you know, they were in jail. And she was like, dude, please. And he's like, I'm going to talk to Huey about it. She said, for what? He said, because you giving somebody else your job, that's your job to do, and you my assistant, and you giving it to them. And oh, she said, so what, you sitting there trying to act like you trying to look out for me? You ain't trying to look out for me. And he said, yeah, you know, they could be dangerous and stuff. She said, see, that's the problem. She was like, you know, she said, you know how the criminal justice system is. She said, that you think you so much better than them, that could be you. That could be you. And he said, yeah, I know. You know, he know how the system is. And he said, and she told him, I don't want him talking to the guys over there, making them think that they got something going on. She said, we tried it. I didn't like it. We don't want it. I don't want to have nothing else to do with it. You know, so don't be making people think stuff between us. And she said, and that's his problem. He think he was better than all of them. Anyway, Then there was Andy. She overheard everything and she's asking what's the yelling about. She asked Fatima to come in her office and she's telling Fatima, Fatima gives her a little bit of background and she's like, well, let me give you some advice. I tried that workplace relationships and they don't usually work. And Fatima's like, oh, hell no, it's not all about that. It's not that at all, and, and she said, oh, okay. So she apologizes for being short with her. Oh, she was asking him, was the guy harassing her, was Hayden harassing her? Because she said he could be an ass sometimes. She's like, he's always been nice to me. Of course she's going to be nice to you. But she told him what she did, that guy that I was telling you about, that guy that I liked, I was telling you about. Well, he found out about it and he's threatened the guy, and he's threatening him. She's like, but that's not good, So, but anyway, Andy, she said, is there anything else I could do for you? She said, yeah, I just wanted to apologize for being short with you earlier, and she's like, that's okay, girl. That's it. I get it. And she's like, get what? Andy's always like, get what? It's always got to be a question. She's like, it takes a lot to be you. Care to elaborate? Andy. She don't, nobody can't say to her, you gotta explain. She said, the man you love, you got a man you love, and then his wife you gotta worry about, and, but she said, but I know you got this job. She said, and what did she say? And nobody could take that from you. She said, because they already tried. She said they didn't work, right? And she's like, I hear that, and they, high five, whatever. And then she left and went home. She had to go check on her man. She want to go get to Zach. And then while she was going out, somebody had knocked on the door and it was Paris and he wanted to know how she was doing. So Paris asked how she was doing and she seemed like the heat almost went over her. Like she was so nervous to stand next to him. But we're forgetting all of this happening the night before? It was like the night before or something. So he said, sorry about last night. And she said, I should be saying that to you. And that's true because what she did and put him in the middle of some mess. And he was just checking to see if she was okay. He wanted to take out to dinner if she had time. And she said she hanging with her girls tonight and stuff. So he said, asked her to call him when she did get a chance to call him when her head was clear and sober. He said, not when she's hurt or what was it, angry or something. What did he say? Not when she hurt or angry or something like that. Oh, not when she drunk or angry. That's what it was. Because that's when she calls, it seemed like. That's when, his mama heard everything. All that stuff. Anyway, then they got Fatima. She calls Zach. She wants to see him, him to come to her house. And, she didn't go over to the house where he's working and cleaning because she didn't want them guys to say nothing and whatever. And he's like, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that and stuff. She said, but don't worry. I took care of it. What did you take care of? What you take care of? She was like, ain't nobody going to bother you. He said, what did you do? What did you do? Zach is trying to do the right thing and stay straight. And he don't want no problems. He's like, what did you do? She said, I'm a grown woman. I took care. Don't you worry about it. He's like, tell me what it was. She said, how about dinner at my house tonight? And I'll tell you all about it. And he's like, I don't know about that and stuff. She's like, come on to my house. She said, I'm not taking no for an answer. And he was like, all right. He said, you wild bossy though. She's like, you make me that way. I was like, okay. So anyway, then this Danny shows up to Sabrina's house and she asks, she need a drink because of what happened. And she tells Sabrina what happened with Preston's family, his brothers and stuff. And then, who came in? Karen came in. And she's upset and pissed and everything about that thing. Because all of that happened that same day with Zach, her smacking Zach on the plane. And then Sabrina says she has a friend. Because she's showing everybody the credit card bill. And Sabrina says she has a friend who works at one of those companies. Maybe she could dig into it. Because they was asking Karen, did she get copies of receipts or anything? Karen just kept saying, I know he did it. I know he did it. I know he did it. And they was like, well, somebody could have, there's identity theft, this, that. Somebody could have get, and she was like, nah, he did it. He did it. The bank told me he did it. See, the bank said the charges were his, but maybe somebody signed his name. But how did somebody get that damn card? And who's that somebody? See, I'm thinking there's a lot of people. I'm thinking it could be, it could be Pam. at the hair salon. It could be Pam. It could be no, because she don't know about them. I was blaming Fatima and everybody. I had all kind of things in my head who could have done it. Some people said it could have been the ex-husband. What's the pastor? The pastor's ex-family might have gotten a hold of it, but they don't know Zach's name. So it's a lot. It's gonna be interesting how Tyler puts this together. Who did this? Who took her card and did these charges? What else? It'd be funny if it was the pastor. Let me stop. Wouldn't that be something, y'all? If it was the preacher man. Preacher man. Anyway, what else? So they're all at Sabrina's house. They're all talking. She's showing the credit card. Sabrina says her girlfriend or somebody she knows, a friend of hers works there. She goes in the back to call them. Karen and them are all talking. They doing digs at each other. They digs about Sabrina's cooking. She don't put no salt in her stuff. They on Karen the whole time. Karen's like, thanks all of y'all for your help, for backing me up, you know, and nobody looking out for me. Thanks for asking about my well-being and stuff. She's like, y'all don't have no accountability for Zach, you know, for what he did. She said, I just want my money. You know, so with Sabrina saying she might know somebody, Karen's like, hopefully I get my money back. But that's how she feels. You know, if it was their credit card, maybe they would feel a certain way. But y'all let me know down in the comment section how you feel about that. It could be. What else? She said, what else? They were all concerned if she reported Zach that he would go back to jail. They told her to tell the credit card company it's not hers. She said, I did that already. They don't give a damn. You know, some of them don't. That's why you need to get an American Express card. They look out for you. I'm telling y'all. I'm shouting out American Express. Amex, hook me up. Anyway. What else? Karen learns, da-da-da-da. Oh, so then, she said, and then he had the nerve to block me. And that's what Danny jumps in. She's like, he didn't block you for that. He blocked you because of his new woman. I said, oh, snap. And they all like, Danny, don't say nothing. And he's like, he said, this new chick got his nose wide open. She's like, is that supposed to hurt my feelings? Is that supposed to? And they kept saying, Danny, come on, like, don't say nothing. So she said, I don't care. I just want my money back. You know, and she said they said, well, how did you hear about this new chick? You know, how do you know about her? And she said, he gave me a ride in this company truck and everything. And he's with doing this business. And what business he doing? Because it sounds like some stuff that'll get him back in jail. And she told him it's the chain breakers with the ex-con. And Andy's like, oh, I know somebody that's in it. I know somebody who does that. So, you know, that's a good program. That'll help him. Good for him. Everybody's happy. She's like, sound like he always with the quick, get rich quick schemes, as Karen saying. So hopefully that's not that. They said, no, that's a good program for him. So anyway, so while they're talking, all of a sudden they changed over to Andy. Andy asking Andy about Gary. Come on now. You ain't talked to Gary today? He called you. He called her all day long. She let him know, yeah, he called me. But she didn't talk to him. You know, she ignored him and she said it was hard. It was hard ignoring him. And I said, I hear that, girl. I understand. And then what was the last thing? Then they switched over. Andy said, no, who was it? Karen said something about all, what did she say? All Danny care about right now is her little cowboy. And that's when Sabrina jumps in and tells them everything what happened with Britt. She said all she thinking about is her Preston's racist brothers. And they were like, what? His racist brothers. She said, really? Really, Sabrina? You just had to. She's like, you know what, Sabrina? You an ass. Sabrina kept jumping in. Every time they asked her question, every time Karen or Andy asked Danny a question, Sabrina would answer. And she kept answering everything. I was like, why she got her being an ass like that? And you know, that's what Danny said, you real ass. So she started telling everything about happened. Every question they asked, she said the answer. And it was just like one thing after another. But some of the lines, y'all know how it is sometimes. He repeats some of the same lines and they kept asking the same thing over. It was already asked and answered, you know. But so it kind of ended like that, you know. And what happened? Oh, the last thing. She was in her car Danny was in her car. I guess she's home, and she's calling Preston one more time. Preston, you really not gonna call me back? Because they kept asking her, you ain't talked to him? He called you a bitch. They did this, they did that. What? But she never told him that Zach jumped in for him, which I was glad they didn't mention that. But anyway, so she's calling him. He's not answering. She gets out of her car. She goes upstairs to her house, and Preston is sitting there on the floor in front of her door with a black eye. I said, oh, snap. His brothers beat him up. I said, this is like in that other show, in the Have and Have-Nots, right? When the gay police officer in Tyler Perry other show, and his big brother beat him up for being gay. Lord help him. You know, what's with these big brothers always beating up their little brothers? Little punk asses. If they was that bad, they should... Anyway, that's who they was. But that's how it ended. Let me know what you think about the review. Put it down in the comments section. This is your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.